What's up everybody, welcome back to A Ball and a Goal. My name is Cornel and in this video I'm gonna start to preview the 36 teams that will participate in the 2024-2025 UEFA Champions League group stage. Now, we can all agree at this point that the Fantasy Champions League game will be this season much harder, more complex than the one that we played in the previous seasons. And there's a reason for that. The changes made in Champions League format. We no longer gonna have the traditional group stages in which each team plays the other three twice, one time at home and one time away. We are going to have one big group stage in which each team is gonna play 8 different opponents, 4 games at home and 4 games away. The number of match days is gonna be increased from 6 to 8 in the group stages and from 13 to 17 overall, due to another playoff round that is going to be played somewhere in February next year. But you don't have to worry about that because you're going to have unlimited transfers before its deadline. In order to have the best squad possible ahead of the Game Week 1 deadline, which is going to be on Tuesday, September the 17th, I'm going to preview every single team and I'm going to take a look at their domestic form in their domestic leagues. Now bear in mind that some leagues have started earlier than others. Like for example in Serbia they already played 8 game weeks, whereas in Germany they started 2 weeks ago, so they only played twice. Another thing to consider, 7 teams to be more specific have already played in the Champions League this season, going through the qualifying rounds. And talking about the qualifying rounds, I want to give a special congratulations to Slovan Bratislava, the only team left in competition who has made it all the way from the first qualifying round. And then I'm going to take a look at the players. For some teams, I divided them in 2 sections, one defensive and one attacking. In the defensive section, I included the goalkeeper, the back line, fullbacks, wingbacks, center backs, and also the defensive midfielder. And then in the attacking section, I included the central midfielders, the wingers, and the strikers. For each player in both sections, I added the number of starts and the numbers of games completed, which I think is a very good indicator of likelihood of a player being subbed off early or not. Then for each player again, I'm going to have the expected goals and expected assists, along with the goals and assists they have accumulated so far this season. All the stats are per 90 minutes. Then specifically for the defensive section, I added the number of ball recoveries, again per 90, which is an important thing in Fantasy Champions League because you get 1 extra point for every 3 balls recovered. And also I included the number of crosses per 90, which I think it's a good indicator of a fullback getting you an assist. And then for the attacking players, I included the number of shots on target and the number of touches in the penalty area, as I think these 2 are extremely good indicators of a player getting a goal involvement. Now before I start, I want to apologize to all the players which names I'm gonna mispronounce in these previews. We have a lot of ground to cover, so let's jump straight into it. So first place I'm gonna go is gonna be Spain, and I will start with Real Madrid, the title holders. Not such a great start of the La Liga campaign. Maybe I'm a little bit too harsh still. They didn't lose yet. 2 wins at home with Valladolid and Betis, and 2 draws away at Mallorca and Las Palmas. Out of these 4 games, I think the one at Mallorca was basically the worst. And I think for the long spells during that game, they were second best. They were lucky to get a point over there. But if is there one manager that can turn things around, is definitely Carlo Ancelotti, so I won't be too worried about that. In the last game at home against Betis, finally Mbappe scored his first goal, for Real. Beautiful back heel from Federico Valverde to set him up, and then he converted a penalty later to get his second goal. In terms of the fixtures, I think they are the only teams who is going to play 3 out of the 4 games at home. So they have Stuttgart away, then Dortmund and Milan at home, Liverpool, Atalanta away, Salzburg at home, and they end with Brest away. Let's look at the defense. Now, Courtois is definitely going to be in the sticks. I have here how many starts they made so far in La Liga and how many games have completed, to give you a good look at the ones that will be on the field for a longer period of time. Also the recoveries, which we know in the fantasy game, in the Champions League format, they are extremely important. 1 point for every 3 recovered balls. Also, I included crosses. Everything is per 90. So crosses too. So to give you a better look at which fullbacks are more likely to get you an assist, and of course expected goals and expected assists, like I said, per 90. So Courtois definitely will be in goal. Left back Ferland Mendy, he started 3 games. One of them that he missed, he was suspended. He got a red card in the first game against Mallorca. Center backs, definitely Rudiger and Militao. Alaba is likely to return in 2025, so that partnership between Rudiger and Militao likely to stay the same for at least for this calendar year. And Dani Carvajal at the right back. And I also included in the defense Tchouaméni as a defensive midfielder. So yeah, with the exception of Ferland Mendy and Carvajal, all the other ones started all the 4 games in the league so far. Now it's possible 1 point Dani Carvajal, due to his age, to be replaced once in a while. Lucas Vazquez can play in that right back position, and also Fran Garcia can replace Ferland Mendy on the left side. Tchouaméni, I think his place is safe. Camavinga is injured and should be back in January. And also Bellingham was injured for the last game. He didn't take place in the last game, but he's expected to return by mid-September. So basically, he'll be in contention for the first game. When it comes to recoveries, Tchouaméni 5.95. That's almost 2 points in fantasy game per game. Militao 4.25 and Rudiger at 3.25. When it comes to crosses, Carvajal delivers 2.9 crosses per game. So he looks like a good option from the assist point of view. For the expected goals and expected assists, not too much, just Rudiger at 0.12, and Militao got already an assist in the league, and he is at 0.10 expected assists per 90. So that's pretty much what I think is going to be their backline and goalkeeper and the defensive midfielder. Now, looking at Real Madrid from the attacking point of view, like I said, Bellingham played just 1 game, got injured after that. Federico Valverde, Vini Jr., Rodrigo and Mbappe, with the exception of Rodrigo, all the other ones started every single game. Of course, Modric, Arda Güler, Dani Ceballos can replace any of the midfielders like Bellingham or Valverde, and Endrick and Brahim Diaz can replace only one of the front 3. I think that Vini Jr. and Mbappe will definitely start the majority of the games. Valverde has a good ball recovery numbers, 5.50, per 90. Touches in the penalty area, I also included this stat because it gives you again a good look at which one is more likely to get involved in a goal with an assist or a goal, obviously. Mbappe 11.8, Vini Jr. at 8.16, and then the other ones, Rodrigo at 5.63 and Bellingham at 5.0. Also shots in the target here per 90, Mbappe 2.33 shots per target, which is a pretty good number, and then Rodrigo at 1.24. Expected goals and expected assists, the highest numbers Mbappe, which already has 2 goals in the league, the one that he scored against Betis, 0.82 expected goals per 90. And to be honest, the other numbers are pretty low. The next one is Vini Jr. at 0.34. He already has a goal as well, like Valverde and like Rodrigo. And for expected assists, Vini, the highest expectancy at 0.48. Rodrigo on corners, also Modric when he is on the field, Valverde on free kicks, and Mbappe on pens. Let's move on to Barcelona. They started the campaign in La Liga with a perfect record. They are the only team in Spain who has 12 points after 4 games. 2 away wins at Valencia and Rayo Vallecano, both with 2-1. And 2 home wins, 2-1 against Bilbao and 7-0 against Real Valladolid. 13 goal scores, 3 conceded, 12 points. I don't think they were that brilliant, except for the last game in which actually Rafinha had an amazing game, a hat-trick and an assist as well. When it comes to the Champions League schedule, they start at Monaco, then 2 home games against Young Boys and Bayern München, a trip to Belgrade against Red Star, then at home against Brest, 2 away games at Dortmund and Benfica, and they end at home against Atalanta. Looking at their defense, Ter Stegen is going to be definitely the goalkeeper. 4 starts so far. A left back Alejandro Balde with 3 starts. A pair of center backs of Inigo Martinez and Pau Cubarsí. Both of them started all the games so far. And at the right back, Jules Koundé, who started all 4 games and completed all of them. Christensen is out for about 4 months. Araujo will be back probably next year. And when it comes to the defensive midfielder position, Bernal is out for the rest of the season, and there's no definitive return date for Frankie de Jong. So basically means that Balde, Martinez, Cubarsí and Koundé will pretty much play the back four for at least until December, January, my opinion. And for Bernal, probably Marc Casado will play in that defensive midfield role. When it comes to recoveries, the best numbers, Inigo Martinez with 4.5 and Jules Koundé with 4.25, and also Casado with 4.11. Crasses, Koundé 2.25 and Balde with 2. And when it comes to goals, Koundé has already won. He scored in the last game against Valladolid. His expectancy, though, is very low, 0.04. The highest number is Casado with 0.36. And when it comes to assists, the only one who's got one so far is Cubarsí, 0.12 expected assists. The other number higher than that is Balde with 0.15. Let's look at the attack. So Pedri, Olmo, Rafinha, Yamal, Lewandowski and Ferran Torres will basically fight for 5 places in my opinion. I like Olmo. I think he's an amazing player. He played in 2 games and he already has 2 goals. But Hansi Flick, I think if he wants to play Olmo, basically, he will have to play Rafinha on the left and Yamal on the right and Lewandowski as a striker, which leaves out Ferran Torres, obviously. So I don't know exactly what to say, but I'm pretty sure it's going to come down with between Olmo and Ferran Torres for the final spot. As you can see, Rafinha started all games and he completed all of them. The other ones who started all the 4 games are Yamal and Lewandowski. Ferran Torres started 3 as Pedri. Like I said, Olmo came a little bit later. He played in 2 games and he only started 1. He already has a 2.33 shots on target per 90, a pretty good number, actually the highest on this list. Rafinha with 1.75 and Ferran Torres with 1.44. When it comes to touches in the penalty area, the best numbers are again Rafinha, 7.00. I think in the fantasy game at 7.5, he is probably the best player that will offer you the most value for the money. He is of course on corners and free kicks, Lewandowski on penalties. When it comes to goals, they all had already scored. Lewandowski with 4, Rafinha with 3. Like I said, against Valladolid, he had a hat-trick, Olmo 2, and the other ones 1, Pedri, Yamal, and Ferran Torres. And assists, Yamal's got 4. I think he offers not too much when it comes to goals, to be honest. He's got 4 assists already and 0.69 expected assists per 90, which is the highest one from this front 6 of Barcelona. Also, Rafinha's got 2 assists, Lewandowski 1, and Ferran Torres 1 as well. Second one on this list is Rafinha with 0.49. So good numbers for Rafinha when it comes to assists, when it comes to goals, when it comes to touches in the penalty area, and when it comes to shots on target as well. Starts 4, completed 4 games. So like I said, I think at his price of 7.5, he's probably at this moment the best player to own in your team. We'll go to Girona, the surprise package of last season. They finished 3rd in La Liga. Started the season with a draw away at Betis. They play again away and they lost at Atletico Madrid 3-0, and then back-to-back wins, 4-0 at home against Osasuna and 2-0 away at Sevilla. In the Champions League group stage, they start in France against Paris Saint-Germain. Then they have 2 home games against Feyenoord and Slovan Bratislava. Again, away at PSV Eindhoven and Sturm Graz. Home with Liverpool, away at Milan, and home with Arsenal. Well, we'll look at the defense first. Pretty straightforward here. Gazzaniga in goal, left back Miguel Gutierrez, Daley Blind and David Lopez as center backs, and I think Arnau Martinez definitely right back. Alejandro Frances played 2 games, but I think Martinez was kind of injured for those 2. And then the defensive midfield position will be Oriol Romeu. As you can see, with the exception of the right backs, all the other ones started pretty much every game. When it comes to recoveries, the left back Gutierrez got 5.75 recoveries per 90, a pretty good number. Also, Daley Blind as well at 3.50, and Oriol Romeu at 3.7. As well, for crosses, Gutierrez leads with 4 crosses per 90. And from the other side, Martinez 3.0 crosses per 90. Nobody scored yet, and the numbers, to be honest, are pretty low. Just 1 assist Miguel Guiterres and his expected assists per 90 are at 0.25. We'll go to the attack. Now, one thing to keep in mind is that Dovbyk, who was the goal scorer from La Liga last season, has left Girona. He joined Roma in Serie A. And I just don't think Abel Ruiz is an upgrade, to be honest with you. Ivan Martin, Yangel Herrera, Brian Gill, Tsigankov and Ruiz as a striker, most likely to start the games. Abel Ruiz got the best numbers when it comes to touches in the penalty area at 6.36. Not too far behind Gill at 5.79 and Tsigankov at 5.71. Shots on target, again, Abel Ruiz 1.20 per 90. When it comes to goals, he already has 2 and 1 for Martin, for Brian Gill and for Tsigankov as well. When it comes to assists, Yangel Herrera got 1 and Tsigankov as well 1. Not big numbers here. The highest one is 0.14 from Brian Gill. The goals, Abel Ruiz got the big goal expectancy per 90 at 0.57. It's worth mentioning that they have plenty of options in the attack. They got Porto, which I think currently is injured, Yasser Asprilla, Stuani, Bojan Miovski, Danjuma, and Mishui. So they can rotate pretty easily, and I think the last game at the break he did like 2 or 3 changes. So players came off at the halftime. Abel Ruiz is on penalties, Tsigankov on corners. And also is worth mentioning Yangel Herrera has 7.33 ball recoveries per 90 and Ivan Martin is at 0.06. So pretty good numbers for those two midfielders. And like I said, Dovbyk has moved to Roma. And the last team from Spain is going to be obviously Atletico Madrid. A good start of the campaign. They are the 3rd place currently, 2 wins and 2 draws, 6 goals scored and 2 goals conceded, 8 points. A 2-2 at Villarreal, followed by a win at home against Girona, 3-0, 0-0 at home against Espanyol, and a big win in the last minute from Angel Correa goal away at Bilbao. When it comes to the Champions League, they start at home against Leipzig, then they go to Lisbon against Benfica, home against Lille, away against Paris Saint-Germain and Sparta Prague, home against Slovan Bratislava and Bayer Leverkusen, and they end up in Austria against Salzburg. I'll look at the defensive side of things. Now, of course, this is Diego Simeone, and he likes to complicate things. He's going to rotate his left backs or left wing backs. He's going to rotate his center backs. He's going to rotate his right backs or his right wing backs. So it's very hard to predict, basically. Oblak definitely is going to be in goal. And then it's Rodrigo and Reinildo for the left back or left wing back position. Lenormand, I think, should be the most nailed center back, with the other places to be decided between Witsel, Azpilicueta and Jose Jimenez or Galan, who didn't play yet in the league. And then probably Marcos Llorentes, who is the most informed players basically right now for Real Madrid to play in the right wing back position. When it comes to recoveries, the numbers are pretty good. 5.26 for Rodrigo, 5.50 for Reinildo, 5.33 for Witsel, 4.29 for Lenormand and Llorente. And the crosses again from the wings, Rodrigo with 6.32 and Molina, who actually only played 1 game, so that's why I think maybe his numbers are so high with 5.56. Goals, just Llorente from the back line with 2, His expected goals is at 0.03, so a little bit lucky there. But he also got an assist, 0.21 expected assist per 90, only second to Rodrigo, who is at 0.23. Now going into the attack, again, I'm pretty sure Diego Simeone will rotate here a lot as well. He's got Pablo Barrios and Koke, who both can play, and also Rodrigo de Paul. All of them can play in those defensive midfielder position, like a number 6. He's got Lino and Conor Gallagher now. Griezmann as well, who can play in the midfield. And then basically he's got 3 options up front, which are pretty good: Sorloth, Alvarez, and Correa as well. All of them can actually start every single game. The only one who started and completed so far all the games, that it was Pablo Barrios, who started 3 and finished 3 from those 4. Shots on target, low numbers, just Sorloth with 2.43, but he only started 2 and he didn't complete it, those games either. When it comes to touches in the penalty area, Sorloth again at 7.50, the highest number, and Lino at 5.33. Goals, 3 goals so far: Koke, Griezmann, and Sorloth. The highest number, Sorloth at 0.71, and assists, 2 assists from Griezmann, 1 from Pablo Barrios, and 1 from Sorloth, who has, I think, yes, the highest number of expected assists at 0.63. I'm assuming Griezmann is on penalties and corners. Reinildo, I think, will take them sometimes from the left. So like I said, Angel Correa can replace Sorloth or Alvarez. So yeah, pretty difficult to predict Atletico Madrid first 11. The last 2 teams I'm going to talk about in this video are from Austrian Bundesliga. First one is RB Salzburg, which, by the way, they are not the champions. They had to qualify through the qualifying rounds. They played 4 games so far in the Champions League. They eliminated Twente 2-1 at home and 3-3 away. And then Dynamo Kiev 2-0 away, a game that I think was in Poland played, and 1-1 at home. I saw bits of the first game that they played against Dynamo Kiev, and they really made Dynamo Kiev look like an amateur team. They were far much better. And I think it is a team that will cause problems to a lot of teams that they will play against. Maybe a little bit under the radar, maybe because they didn't win the title in Austria last season, which I think is the first time in a long time. But definitely a team that I'll keep my eye on, and definitely with good players that you can bring in your team for good value. When it comes to Bundesliga, 4 games played so far, 3 wins and 1 loss, 11 goals scored and 6 conceded. 3-2 away at Grazer, 5-1 with Linz at home, and then they played 2 away games. They won the first one at Lask 1-0, and they lost at Rapid Wien 3-2. When it comes to the Champions League schedule, they start away at Prague against Sparta, then back-to-back home games against Brest and Dinamo Zagreb, 2 away at Feyenoord and Leverkusen, at home against Paris Saint-Germain, away at Real Madrid, and finally at home against Atletico Madrid. I'm going to take a general look at Salzburg. That's pretty much the team that started most of the games. They played, like I said, 8 games so far, 4 in the Austrian Bundesliga and 4 in the Champions League qualifying rounds. The only one who started all the games was, except for the goalkeeper, Yanis Blachwicz, which I think is the captain, and I think he's the oldest one in this team, is the center back Samson Baidu. An interesting thing, I added the age of these players so you can see how young this team is and how energetic they are. They press very high, they play very good in transition and on counter. Terzic, the left back, 25, Baidu, 20, and Piatowski, the other center back, 24. Right back, Amar Dedic at 22. Kjærgaard, a Danish player who got 4 goals and 1 assist in the Champions League and 2 assists in the league at 21. He is on penalties, but it's worth remembering that Karim Konate, who was the Bundesliga goal scorer last season, he is injured. He's expected to be back in September. He is actually on penalties. Then in the midfield, Capaldo and Diambu, both with 4 starts, 26 and 21. And then up front, Oskar Gluch, 20 years old, Nene Dorgeles, 21, and Yeo at 20 years old. So very, very young team. All of them got assists and goals so far. Gluch, which is from Israel, 3 goals, and 1 assist. Actually 3 goals and 2 assists, 1 in the league and 1 in the Champions League. Dorgeles, 2 goals in the league, 2 goals in the Champions League, and 1 assist in the Champions League. And Yeo, 2 goals in the Champions League and 1 in the league and 1 assist in each competition. So yeah, definitely a very, very young and energetic front line. Shots on target, I included them here. The 3 of them have obviously the highest numbers. Dorgeles at 1.86, Gluch at 1.40, and Yeo at 1.33. They have a lot of depth to be fair. So like I said, Karim Konate is expected to return in September and he will be on penalties. In the midfield, Lucas Gourna, a French player, and Bistrup, Danish player, can come and play for Capaldo and Diambu. And I think, to be honest, Gourna and Bistrup are the ones that they'll probably start in the first 11. And also Van der Brempt is a defender who can play right back or left back as well. He can come for Terzic or Dedic. As far as I remember, Amar Dedic is injured currently. He picked up a hamstring injury. I don't think it's that serious, so he should be back for the first game. So yeah, you also have Petar Ratkov. I think it's a Serbian player who can play as a number 9. And Adam Daghim, Danish player, both very young, who can play either on the right wing or left wing. Like I said, definitely a team that I will seriously consider to buy players from. And if you look back at the fixtures, I really like those first 3. They look very nice on paper. At least Sparta Praga away, then back-to-back home games against Brest and Dinamo Zagreb. Either an attacker or a defender or even a goalkeeper, I think should be just fine. And then the last team on this list is going to be Sturm Graz. They are the currently champions in Austrian Bundesliga. It's been a while since they won it. I think somewhere around 10 years. So they qualified directly for the group stages. They did play 5 games so far in the league. They are in the first place. They won 4 and they lost 1. 10 goals scored and 4 conceded, 12 points. Like RB Salzburg, they lost away at Rapid Vienna 1-0, and then they won the next 4, 3 at home, 2-0 Hartberg, 2-1 against Altach, and 4-2 against Tirol, and they won away at Austria Klagenfurt 2-0. In the Champions League, they start away at Brest, then back-to-back home games against Club Rouge and Sporting, away at Dortmund, home against Girona, away at Lille and Atalanta, and finally home against RB Leipzig. Now, to be honest with you, I haven't seen this team played yet, and I think with all due respect to the Sturm Graz fans, I think it's one team to be targeted in the group stages. I just don't think they have enough depth looking at their squad. Here is pretty much what I think is going to be the first 11. They play an interesting 4-4-2 with Vic and Birtich up top, and supported by a number 10 in Zvonarek, Lovro Zvonarek. So Shepren, 5 starts. Left back Laval with 5 starts as well. Then a pair of centre backs of Vutrich and Atvium. Right back is going to be Gazibegovic from Bosnia. And then Goran Stankovic, who's going to play more like a defensive midfielder kind of role. Horvat and Kiteshvili in the midfield. Kiteshvili being on penalties. And then Lovro Zvonarek as a number 10. And Vic and Birtich up top. Goals so far in the league. Birtich with 3 and Kiteshvili with 2. Also, Laval, the left back, has 1 goal, and Tommy Horvat in the midfield with 1 goal as well. And when it comes to assists, the most 2 for Goran Stankovic, and then 1 for Gazibegovic, Kiteshvili, Vic, and Birtich. The highest numbers for shots on target, 1.08 for Zvonarek, and 1.22 for Birit. Like I said, I think once again, with all due respect to Sturm Graz fans, I think this is one team that we can target, especially at the beginning of the competition. So that's it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I wish everybody a wonderful day. Until next time, bye bye.